Hello and welcome to Complete Story Mondays, the show that takes a game, any game, and breaks down all the secrets and fun stuff of the story on a Monday. And with the Resident Evil 3 remake looming on the horizon, what better way to reignite this series than with the 1999 classic Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Now you're probably thinking, Sean, why in God's name are you starting with Resi 3? Is it a blatant capitalization on the fact that the game's remake is releasing so soon? Are you simply trying to break that YouTube algorithm? Of course I am. Why wouldn't I? But don't worry, everything's going to be alright, chaps. There will be another time for the other Resident Evil games on Complete Story Monday, but that day is not today. Now before we begin, let's just get this out of the way immediately. This video is full of spoilers, not just for the original RE3, but for its remake as well, depending on how much of the story Capcom are going to leave intact. So if you're planning on going into the RE3 remake blind, then switch this video off now. But on your way out, be sure to click that like button, you cheeky boy. And I also want to briefly mention the live selection moments in this game. These are choices that the player can make to advance the story, with each option affecting some other part of the story later down the line. And while I could discuss all of these options individually, I won't be. Instead I'll be focusing on the choices that I made when I played the game. And I realise that might anger people, and if you are one of those people who are angered by this, then I'm sorry. That's about the best I can do with that one. So there you go. So with that said, grab a drink, grab a biscuit, kick back, relax and enjoy the show. I'm Sean for Goin All Gamer, and this is the complete story of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Cue the music. September 28, 1998. 2 months after the Spencer Mansion incident, and at the same time Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield are busy dealing with their own stuff, STARS member Jill Valentine finds herself preparing for escape from the zombie-infested Racoon City. However, things go tits up very quickly and Jill finds herself cornered by zombies. Narrowly escaping, she hides out in a warehouse while things cool down. The next day, Jill heads out onto the streets of Racoon City and bumps into another STARS member, Brad Vickers. Brad warns Jill of an unknown enemy who is hunting down the STARS team and then heads off to save his own skin. Jill then makes her way to the police station, where she once again runs into Brad and the big bad of the story, the tyrant, Nemesis. Brad is quickly overpowered and killed by Nemesis, who then turns his attention to Jill. Jill, narrowly avoiding the fight, heads inside the police station. Making her way to the STARS office, Jill overhears a radio transmission coming from within Racoon City and decides to head downtown to the source. But as she is leaving, she is once again cornered by Nemesis, who dives through a freaking window, and it really works. But Jill's a smart girl, and shooting by the big lug, she escapes back onto the streets and heads deeper into the city. Once downtown, Jill heads into a restaurant and meets Carlos Oliveira, the source of the radio transmission. Carlos works for the Umbrella Corporation in the Biohazard Countermeasure Service, which of course does him no favours in Jill's book anyway, because she is fully aware that Umbrella are the ones behind the virus outbreak in the first place. But Jill does eventually come around to Carlos when he helps her escape yet another encounter with Nemesis. The two then head off to regroup with the rest of Carlos's team. The rest of the team consists of Nikolai Zinoviev and Mikhail Victor, and they all run over the escape plan. The team plan to use the city tram to reach the clock tower and ring the bell, which will signal a chopper to come and pick them up. However, the tram is pretty much out of action. So it's up to Jill and Carlos to hunt down replacement parts and resources and get the tram moving again. They succeed in doing this, and they actually get the tram moving, but once again Nemesis is there to throw a spanner into the works. Mikhail sacrifices himself for the team, using a grenade to knock Nemesis from the tram, but also causing it to crash. Luckily, it crashes right outside the clock tower. How convenient. And Jill and Carlos then proceed to ring the bell. Everything is going swimmingly. The chopper is on the way and Jill's nightmare is about to come to an end, but then Nemesis shows up and blows the chopper to Kingdom Come. This forces Jill and Carlos to go head to head with Nemesis, and they win the fight, but at a cost. Jill is now infected with the T-virus. Carlos takes Jill into the chapel beside the clock tower for safety. A few days later, Carlos then ventures out to a nearby hospital in search of a cure and discovers another UBCS member who's been shot by none other than Nikolai, the traitorous dog. Carlos pushes on and manages to develop a vaccine for Jill, but crafting Nikolai has been harder work as well, placing C4 around the hospital. Carlos makes his escape before the building is blown to bits and returns to Jill. Carlos gives Jill the vaccine, and with her now back on her feet, she makes her way to Raccoon Park. It's here Jill finds a soldier who's been shot dead with orders from a group called the Supervisors. Later, Jill discovers a hidden room in the cemetery, which is revealed to be an observation site for the Supervisors, who are monitoring UBCS performance, the effect the virus has on the city, and how Nemesis is getting on with his hunt for the STARS members. Jill also discovers that the government have plans to destroy Racoon City in a missile attack. Realizing that she's pretty much pressed for time, Jill decides to book it back to Carlos. Jill then bumps into Nikolai, who explains his connection to the supervisors, but before she has time to deal with him, he runs off when the mutant called Gravedigger erupts from the ground, leaving Jill to fight the monster herself. Jill reunites with Carlos and informs him of the impending missile attack on the city. Carlos then tells Jill he's found a chopper not too far away that they can use for an escape. Making a break for it, Jill is once again cornered by Nikolai, who explains he's been killing all the other supervisors so he can make the most profit. He also explains that a bounty has been placed on Jill's head, hence his determination to kill her. However, Nikolai is then murdered by none other than Nemesis himself, who is back and even more mutated since the clock tower fight. Jill faces off against the Nemesis once again and manages to dump the mad lad into a vat of acid. With the missile now on approach to Racoon City, Carlos radios Jill to tell her that he has the chopper. Jill makes her way through an umbrella testing facility and meets the remains of Nemesis, now even more mutated. Using an experimental railgun, Jill shreds the mutated Nemesis and then with a magnum delivers the killing blow. Now, depending on the choices you've made throughout the game, the ending either sees Carlos and Jill escaping in the chopper or another chopper arriving piloted by Jill's old friend Barry Burton. Either way, Racoon City is reduced to nothing more than ashes and the nightmare for Jill Valentine is finally over. And that is the complete story of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Thank you very much for sticking around. Hopefully this will keep you ticking over until the RE3 Remake releases on April 3rd for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One and the PC. I realise kicking this off with Resident Evil 3 was a bold move, but if you want to see the other Resident Evil games covered on Complete Story Monday, let me know in the comments below, and while you're at it, why not smash that like button and click subscribe. I've been Sean for Going All Gamer, you've been a darling, and I'll see you in the next one.